Hey guys, Scare9 here, welcome back to my channel today, and we are officially back, mother chickens. My internet is fully installed, my office is completely done. We are back on the content train, and just in time too, because Game Informer just announced they have an entire month full of Destiny 2 Forsaken coverage, exclusive interviews, information, video breakdowns, that type of thing, so of course we are going to be covering every inch of that. And to start off, I did buy the brand new Game Informer article, and we're going to go through everything in a couple of videos today and tomorrow for you guys, just so we can keep up to date with everything you can expect with Forsaken. And of course, as you guys can tell with the title of this video, in this one we are going to be breaking down all information that we currently have about all 9 supers being added with the Forsaken. And once again, all of this information comes from Game Informer. They did an awesome breakdown of each of them, and of course I will have a link in the description down to the kind of article. I can't link you to the full issue because of course you'll have to purchase it yourself. It's like a $5 standalone issue, but I will link you to the kind of overall site where you can find all of that information if you are interested. So let's just go ahead and start off by taking a look at the new supers for the Titan. The first one is for Sentinel. It's called Code of the Commander. Melee causes explosions, but all void ability damage also attaches a void detonator, and any subsequent damage causes the detonator to go off and attach detonators to enemies caught in the explosion. Grenade damage partially recharges for you and nearby allies when detonators trigger. Banner shield can still be used for offense like normal, but holding guard creates a barrier wall of light that absorbs enemy attacks, but allows your allies' attacks to pass through it. So it seems like it is going to be getting this really cool dichotomy that is going to be kind of like a defender for your team, but it will also help because as the enemies are, essentially useless, they can't damage you, your allies are able just to take them out and shoot through your shield, which is really, really cool. The next one is for Sunbreaker. It's called Code of the Devastator. Throw your hammer with the melee button, but it remains in the world. Risk retrieving it where it fell to fully recharge your melee ability and trigger health regeneration. The more solar ability kills you get, the higher your damage, up to 3 times. Siege Hammer creates a flaming maul that hits like an earthquake and leaves behind flame tornadoes. So that is really freaking awesome. It's essentially like a throwing knife for your melee for Sunbreaker, but you actually get to go pick it up to instantly recharge it, which is really, really, really cool. I love the idea of this entire super. You're just gonna feel like such a monster throwing hammers, hitting people with giant hammers. It's gonna be a ton of fun. The next one is for Striker. It is called Code of the Missile. While airborne, melee to slam into the ground like a bunker buster and gain super energy for your trouble. If you pick up ammo while sliding, you automatically reload your equipped weapon and increase weapon damage for a short amount of time. The new super ability called Thunder Crash sends you hurtling great distances like a missile to hit a targeted area like a meteor strike. So this one seems really, really interesting. There's a lot of moving mechanics in this one. You get the increased weapon damage for sliding, you get the melee attack that makes you do death from above from Destiny 1, which is very interesting because we'll have to see if this melee attack does as much damage as like a shoulder charge, if it just does as much as like a normal melee or that type of thing. These are all kind of moving parts, and just from the descriptions they sound really cool, but without the kind of damage number indicators, it's really tough to tell what everything does and how viable it will actually be, but this one does sound really cool as well. So those are all of the 3 Titan ones. Let's go ahead and move on to the Warlock. The first one is going to be the Attunement of Vision for the Voidwalker. A new atomic breach melee ability creates a void explosion at range, while holding the grenade button down creates a short-ranged area explosion supernova. That in itself just sounds insane. Any void ability kills now heal you and grant ability energy. Nova Warp, which is your super, empowers you with trans-dimensional hopping abilities, letting you repeatedly teleport short distances and then erupt in a burst of energy. So once again, like all Voidwalker subclasses, this seems to be very synergetic with your grenades and melees, which is awesome, and it looks like they're kind of keeping a lot of the Devour traits in this subclass as well, which is of course going to be fantastic. Now my only downside to this is it does seem like the super is just a one-time area of effect thing. That's a little bit unfortunate, but I guess you can't make it too much more powerful than the other subclasses, but it's still going to be a ton of fun to warp around and teleport and get in the middle of enemies, and I cannot wait to use it. The next one is going to be the Attunement of Control for the Stormcaller. You tap the melee button to fling out a long-distance electricity ball that eventually detonates and flings a lightning bolt straight downward. Arc kills sometimes create ionic traces, a spark of raw arc energy that travels across the ground towards you, which can be collected to recharge abilities. Chaos Reach, which is your super, fires a long-range blue beam of intense and focused damage dealing, which can be deactivated early to save energy. So something I find really cool about this one is if you accidentally activate your super at an incorrect time, you can cut it off early and you don't have to get all of your super energy back, only a portion of it. And this will help if you're doing like ad clearing and you kill all the ads, you don't just have to waste the rest of your super, which is really cool. In addition to that, we also saw that you can kind of consume your grenade to get an Arc Soul, which is really cool, that type of thing. It seems like Stormcaller is going to be much more of a dynamic class, which is really good because Stormcaller is one of the most basic and underutilized classes. It's not very powerful. It doesn't really have many roles to fill within the game, so it'll be very interesting to see how this makes it rise among the ranks of the different subclasses. And the final Warlock one is going to be the Attunement of Grace for the Dawnblade. Melee attacks burn bad guys but empower allies. Transform your grenade by holding the grenade button into a blessing, a projectile that heals allies and drops retrievable overshield orbs. Your super is called Well of Radiance, and you slam your solar sword into the ground, creating a wide radius aura that rapidly heals and empowers your friends. Any ability that heals or empowers helps regen your non-super abilities. So it seems like not only are you healing your friends whenever you melee them or give them a grenade, you are actually restoring it more quickly for yourself so you can go ahead and do it more often. Really cool. This is going to be kind of the first purely support class in Destiny. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping this empowerment is going to be a lot stronger than like a basic empowerment riff, making this one of the go-to raid classes. I think that would be really awesome. If you have to designate someone to be a support class, that's some type of dynamics that, you know, Destiny hasn't really had up to this point. It's always been about damage numbers, and what kind of offensive super we can have. The closest thing that we would have to this in the history of Destiny would be a Weapons of Light Bubble Titan in Destiny 1, but in Destiny 2, there's nowhere even close to something like this, so this would be really, really cool. And finally, we have reached the 3 new Hunter supers. The first one is for the Night Stalker, called Way of the Wraith. Your melee smoke bomb heavily damages and slows those in its path. Nail the perfect precision kill against a foe to vanish and gain true sight, which I believe means that you can see through walls. And then Spectral Blades drops you into a veil of shadows to slip behind foes and stab them before you know you are even there. So essentially, it's like Destiny 1 Blade Dancer. You go invisible, you just kill a bunch of people. It is going to be absolutely insane. I believe out of all of these supers, I am most excited for this one. The next one is going to be Way of 1,000 Cuts for the Gunslinger. Knife Trick melees fling out a fan of burning blades. In turn, killing burning enemies recharges your knife trick, and burning enemies also recharges your dodge. Blade Barrage, which is your super, doubles down on your knife skills to expel a volley of explosive knives. This one has to be explored a little bit more. This is by far the shortest description we have out of any of them. We haven't seen a lot of it in the gameplay other than you just tossing out knives. It'll be very interesting to see if this is more of a roaming super, if this is like a one-time use area of effect throwing out knives thing. I'll be very interested to see what's going on with this one. And then the final super that we are getting with the Forsaken is going to be for the Ark Strider. It is called Way of the Current. Slide before a melee to unleash a staff-powered uppercut, and any melee hits increase your reload speed. Any arc abilities electrify your enemies, and any subsequent melee strikes disorient them and refuel your abilities. That sounds disgusting. I don't even want to think about being disoriented multiple times. Use your staff super like normal if desired, but Whirlwind Guard means that you can guard by spinning your staff, reflecting back projectiles, and tripling your staff's damage afterward. So it seems like you can sacrifice some of the duration of your staff by spinning it for a bit, and then you do 3 times the amount of damage, which is insane. I guarantee we're going to see some Nightfall strategies where you just sit in a corner, use this really quick, you jump up, and you just go to town on the boss. It's going to do some insane damage, and I cannot wait to see how these abilities play out. So those are all 9 of the brand new super paths coming with Destiny 2 Forsaken. I'm so very excited for all of these. There's none of them that sound very kind of lackluster. They all sound very thought out and more complex than any of the supers that we currently have in the game. Things like the Sentinel having the detonators that attach whenever you punch someone, things like the Ark Strider using your staff to uppercut melee. All of these things show a lot of thought being put into the subclasses and making the most complicated dynamic subclasses in the history of Destiny, and I'm very excited for that. So let me know what you guys think about all of these new changes down in the comment section below. Of these 9, which are you most excited for? For me, it's definitely going to be Way of the Wraith for the Night Stalker with the Spectral Blades super. That just sounds insane. But let me know what you guys are most excited for down in those comment sections below. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating and to share it with your friends. If you're interested in watching either of the 2 videos on screen, you can click their respective annotations to be taken to them. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure to hit the giant version of my logo on on screen to be subscribed for more awesome Destiny 2 videos and live streams. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you in my next video.